Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and happy Star Wars Day! Wait, what are we reviewing? Huh, so we're reviewing that. You clicked on this video, you know what we're talking about, okay? So, you guys are probably gonna be wanting to know what my reaction to this kids show is. Um, this show's adorable. Review's over. Bye! Oof. Okay, maybe there's a bit more to it than that. For those who don't know, Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures is an animated Disney Junior show that premiered in 2023. And this show takes place during the time of the High Republic, specifically 200 years before the time of the prequels. And I do stand by what I said in that this show is adorable. While I'm not the primary age for this show, I enjoyed the entirety of it. And if I had kids, this is probably one of the first things I would show them. I started watching the show because I am a Star Wars fan. As you may have guessed from last year's lightsaber color video. And I went into this only to watch the first episode, just to see what it was about. And about 7 episodes later, I realized I should stop, but I really wanted to see where the story was going. And I do like that this is a preschool show, as it has a lot of good lessons for kids to learn, like helping others in need, slowing down even in stressful times, and even giving second chances. Lessons that we all had to learn at that age from our own preschool shows. This show is currently made up of 48 episodes, and each episode is divided into 2 parts, with both parts always being filled with enough story to entertain anyone, as each episode held my interest for their entire runtime. And the opening is also a fun ride, giving us a quick look into what each of our 4 leads are like, and even showing us quick glimpses into what each episode is like. Training, learning, a bit of fun, and some action sprinkled throughout. Not to mention, the characters are so adorable, fun to be with, and easy to recognize and relate to. Kai is rather hot-headed, but he always has a good heart, helping even his enemies, and he's always looking for a fight to show that he's ready to become a Jedi. Liz is more calm and level-headed, always being the one to think things through, and she's also the main source of information about animals across the galaxy. And then there's Nubs, who's played by... D. Bradley Baker, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm not joking with you guys. This blue teddy bear is voiced by the brilliant man who gave us every single clone trooper in the 2008 Clone Wars series, which is the best thing to ever come out from Star Wars. And now he's been reduced to... Okay, that's just adorable. Yeah, I can't deny it, I love Nubs. If anything, just the thought of D. Bradley Baker in a recording booth making these sounds of gibberish, that's the funniest thing to me. I so want to see that in a behind the scenes video. Then there's also Nash, who's the team's pilot and is very quick-witted. Kind of like a young Han Solo. No, not that one. Yeah, the lines are pretty much the same, it's just they're coming from a kid now. And this show has some other cameos in it from other Star Wars media and projects. What I mean is, we get characters like Yoda, who everybody knows from the movies. But we also see characters like Bell, Zadafar, Lina So, and Astala Maru from the High Republic novels and comics. Now, while I will admit I haven't read any of the novels or comics for the High Republic, it's nice to see these kinds of cameos, and a good way for kids to know about this era of Star Wars. Plus, actor Piotr Michael does an amazing job as Yoda. Seriously, I actually thought they got Tom Kane back from the Star Wars The Clone Wars series. To hear that it was someone else, that's pretty awesome. And he does a great job of making him sound very wise, but also younger than we know him. But there's also villains in this show as well. Tabor, I'm not gonna lie, is literally just an egocentric bully who just wants attention. And then there's his cronies, EB3 and Pord. They exist? There's not really much to talk about these two. They're extremely underdeveloped, only following Tabor's orders, and they're just comic relief and adorable. But I will say, Tabor does have a pretty cool reveal about him that was revealed in the final episode of Season 1 that had my jaw drop. Now, I won't spoil it here, but if you see the whole series, it explains everything about another character that shows up every now and then. And for me, it was a similar vein to the reveal of Joker's past in Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Plus, it is kind of fun to see him change his ways every now and then. I also can't talk about this show without talking about the action scenes. Now, while I love watching lightsaber duels, this show doesn't have that, as the Sith are in hiding, but we do have some great fights between Kai and Tabor. Now, these are always fun for me to watch, but I'll admit they're not as fast-paced as the ones in the movies, but still memorable and fast-paced enough for little kids to keep up with. And, in all honesty, that's how a lightsaber fight should be. Fast, but still precise enough for the audience to follow along. A great example is Obi-Wan vs. Maul in The Phantom Menace. A bad example is Rey vs. Kylo in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, the episode part of this video is going to be very different, since the series is more geared towards kids. Instead of taking a look at a couple episodes and just talking about them for you guys, I'm just going to watch a single episode and give you my reaction to it. So, let's take a look. So yeah, I do like the show, and I do like the intro, because, like I said before, it gives us a quick rundown of what every episode is like. There's going to be training, there's going to be learning, there's going to be action, and there's going to be some tension as well. And I love the fact that the characters all have big eyes. It's very expressive. You can read a lot into a person by their eyes, usually. So this episode is very interesting for me. It was one that I knew I had to talk about if I ever reviewed this show.
Helping to build homes for people who need them and riding a train to get there? I love this mission already.
So yeah, it's also interesting that they have trains in the Star Wars universe. I mean, I shouldn't be too surprised. Basically, like the land speeders, those are clearly kind of the bikes. The planetary spaceships, those are clearly cars. And the star cruisers, those are quite clearly like cruise liners. But it's a little bit weird for me to know that there are actual trains in this universe.
Follow me in. Jedi. Oh, of course.
Tabor? Ugh, of course.
And yeah, so yeah, here's our main villains, Tabor and his cronies.
We'll be taking them back to Yavin now. The other pirates are gonna be so impressed.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, you can clearly see his motivation is just to be acknowledged by the other pirates. It's very pathetic when you think about it, but it's understandable for a kid because it's like, okay, kids really just want to be acknowledged by adults. I will also say, it's interesting that he uses an electrostaff, because if I remember correctly, he stole Kai's lightsaber in the first episode, so it's interesting that he doesn't use that in all his appearances. I will say, though, it is a little bit more, I don't want to say distinctive, but unique that he uses an electrostaff rather than a lightsaber. He wasn't trained in how to use a lightsaber, so it makes sense that he wouldn't really use one to begin with. Okay, so yeah, this is the biggest thing about the episode for it. We get the characters are separated. We get Kai and Tabor, who are literally mortal enemies in the show, who are stuck together, while the four others are stuck together. And it'd be a bit more of a combo to pair them together. Pair one of these two with the other two. But it is more interesting to have these two paired together because Kai is training to be a Jedi. He has the Jedi mentality to try to stay calm with everything. And Tabor is just a pirate. He is just going for it. He is reckless. He is very loud. He basically thinks loud and might makes right.
I wonder if this means we can move this thing without the engine.
If it means getting those logs back to my crew faster, then fine.
Those logs are going to the people who need them.
We'll see about that.
It's also kind of funny that they're working together, but they're still bickering while they're doing it, and so they're taking a lot longer than it would be if they just put aside all their differences. Then again, they are kids, but at the same time, it's hilarious that they're barely moving at all.
What are you doing?
Moving this train car by hand will take forever.
Yeah, it'll take forever because you two are bickering so much.
Whoa! Thanks.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it's nice to see that they form a bit of an understanding for each other as the episode goes on. And while you know that they can't do anything besides this to keep the status quo, it is nice to see that Kai and Tabor are learning how to at least tolerate each other's presence.
Oh no, the logs are slipping.
We gotta secure them. What are you doing?
You'll see.
You did it.
So yeah, there's that little bit of tension with the logs, and it's still going. But it's a good way to show that both of them are trying to do what they can to keep the logs for their own needs. Like, Kai is doing it to keep them for the people who need it, whereas Tabor is trying to make sure that they're still there for himself.
I'm doing this for me. No one else.
Don't you get tired of stealing all the time?
Yeah, that kind of interaction, it's like, you know that they want Tabor to learn, but they can't upset the status quo like this.
Just because you've done bad things before doesn't mean you can't choose to do good. The only person stopping you is you.
That's actually a very good lesson, too, because it's something that a lot of people kind of struggle with every once in a while. Even me. I will sometimes choose my own personal wants, like to look like I'm competent and that I'm independent when I need to ask for assistance every once in a while.
Thanks for your help.
We're not out of this yet.
We did it!
But yeah, they work together and they figure out a way to get the train working again. Meanwhile, these four are still battling.
We've got to slow them down. They're gonna crash into us.
As much as it pains me to admit it, we should all work together.
But yeah, these four start working together like almost out of nowhere, but it makes sense. The episode's wrapping up. They have to work together. And yeah, they managed to finally get the train back together and get to where they need to go. And of course, because of status quo, like I said before, they immediately betray them.
We never would have gotten those logs back without your help.
It also doesn't make sense why he wants to get these logs, in all honesty. I never realized that until right now, that why does he want these logs again? He explained it, but at the same time, it makes no sense why he wants the logs. If they were bringing in, like, credits, that would make sense. If they were bringing food, that would make sense. But why logs? If it's to get recognition from the pirates elsewhere, That makes no sense. I stole a bunch of logs. So? Sometimes the show just needs things to happen, even if it doesn't make any sense. But in the end, he can't do it and decides to just leave. And that's a bit of a nice little change of pace because you know he's going to be back for later episodes to, I'll admit, cause more panic, cause more distrust, and be a villain again. But this is a nice little change of pace. It was the first time that we saw a little bit of a change for Tabor, and this kind of thing actually kept coming up afterwards, and it made me realize it wasn't just a series of stories. It was slightly episodic, and that actually made the entire series stand out a lot more for me. I'll admit that's a little bit of a weird reasoning, but it's one that's like very interesting to go for. And yeah, this is a good lesson. You gotta be patient with people. You gotta treat people with the same kind of patience you would want from them. And in all honesty, it's a lesson that I gotta use as well because there are times when I am just impatient with people. I need to get answers like immediately. There's like certain things that I want to do and I don't know what order to do them in. And it's like I need and this episode basically says be patient. Not just with yourself, but be patient with others too. It's a very good episode, and it's one that I need to definitely keep holding on to as well for myself too. And that's all for this video, guys. This show is just adorable. I can't really say much else about it. Be sure to give this video a like if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe if you haven't, and ring that bell for notifications. Also, check out my Discord server. It's a great place to talk to me and other people about shows like this. Follow me on Twitter at prnerd_official, and check out my TikTok as well. I don't post on there too often, but I do for certain things. Happy Star Wars Day, everyone, and may the 4th be with you. I'll see you guys next time.